Hey everyone, today we are going to be going over knife locks and styles that I recommend if you're a lefty and you don't really know where to start. Now, from left to right, I've assembled them in roughly easiest to hardest in terms of knives that I would still consider to be ambidextrous or at least friendly towards left-handed users. Now, starting at the easiest, of course, is going to be a knife that is specifically designed for a lefty. Now, companies like Spyderco, Chris Reeve, and even GPKNIVES, they're really known for making exact mirrors of their standard right-handed knives for lefty configuration so that it should be really just completely easy for a lefty. Now, I am not a lefty. I'm pretty good with my left hand, but I'm going to be fumbling a little bit, just a heads up. So like I said, anything that is designed specifically for a lefty is going to be a great option for you. Now, as you can see here, there's different style of openings like thumb studs and thumb holes. If that is set up on the left-hand side, that is going to be inherently at least usable for a lefty. Like jumping here into the middle, we have a Benchmade knife. This is using their axis lock. But nowadays, their patent has worn off, and you can find this style of lock at pretty much every company. And the thing you should search for is the term Crossbar Lock, because every company has their own unique name for it. So just search for Crossbar Lock, and that'll save you some time. But here you can see that there are those thumb studs on both sides of the blade. So as a righty, I can disengage that from one or both sides, and then use my thumb stud. And then if I'm a lefty, I can use it the exact same way. Then the next thing you have to look out for is pocket clip placement. Because say all of that's great, but you can't flip the pocket clip over, it's going to be really weird if you have this clipped into your pocket and your left-hand side, you're going to pull it out and then have to flip it around to use it. So as long as the clip can flip to both sides, and if you have some form of like thumb deployment, it should be an ambidextrous knife, or at least pretty close to one. Now jumping back to, again, a fully ambidextrous design. So this is one form of an out the front, or an OTF automatic. So that's, you slide the switch and it jumps right out. Now this works exactly the same for a righty and lefty, more so than this one, because as you can see, this slide is on the flat, so it doesn't matter which pocket you put this into. This clip, whenever you pull it out, your thumb's on the slide. Put it over here, down in the pocket, pull it out, thumb's on the slide. So that is inherently a bit more ambidextrous friendly than a traditional like side slide switch, because again, you'd have the same problem where if this clip is down there, you're going to have to spin it around to use it. Not a big deal because the action, fully ambidextrous, but nowadays lots of companies have pretty much caught on that people want to be able to flip their clips, and most of the time you won't have any problems there, but you can still occasionally find OTFs out there that are not really lefty friendly. So just a little heads up there. Then, of course, there is Balisongs, or butterfly knives. Some of them will occasionally have pocket clips, and that may or may not make it fully lefty friendly. But all you have to do is hold the correct handle, and as long as you know the motions, oh man, this is why, that's why I chose a trainer, because I'm not a lefty. But that is inherently an ambidextrous design. Now, we did jump the gun earlier and talk about that crossbar lock. So here up next is a traditional back lock. So this is, one of the oldest folding knife designs. All you have to do is push in that lock on the spine, that disengages, and then it can fall closed. So again, same thing as on that crossbar lock. As long as you've got thumb studs on both sides and a clip that can flip, you've got yourself a lefty knife. So that continues down to these next three as well, because like I mentioned with this OTF, if the lock is on the spine, it's going to function the exact same way for a righty For lefty, again, just if you have that pocket clip, which there is still a lot of knives out there that do not have a reversible clip. So that is just something to look out for. Now, one of the last knives that I could still recommend as a slightly ambidextrous friendly design is a button lock. As you can see down there at the handle, you can flip that clip. So they knew that lefties would be carrying this one. But the downside here is, so it's totally normal for a righty to use this, but for a lefty, you'd have to be able to use your index finger here to disengage, which isn't a problem. Oftentimes I'll even carry a button lock in my left hand pocket as like a non-dominant hand backup knife because it is still pretty easy to use, but it is not designed specifically for a left-handed user. Now, that is the case for a lot of knives out there. Like here, whenever I was talking about a frame lock from Chris Reeve, if that frame was on the other side, like I can close this with my right hand, but if that thumb stud's not there, there's no way for me to use this normally as a righty, you know? So those are just some of the more popular knife locks and styles that I recommend if you're a lefty and you don't really know where to start. If I had to pick an absolute favorite though, it would be any of those like kind of here in the middle that are just fully ambidextrous. I don't know, that's just really cool to me whenever your design is just dialed into the point that it functions exactly the same for a righty or a lefty. Like, don't get me wrong, I also do love to see companies out here making designs specifically for their lefty audience. But if you can kill two birds with one stone, I don't know, that just kind of makes the most sense to me. If you're a lefty, be sure to let me know your favorite EDC, and if there's any other models or locking mechanisms that you could recommend. If you want to take a deeper look at any of the knives you've seen in this video, there are links in the description box that'll take you on over to gpknives.com. Thank you so much for watching, and stay sharp.